And we're live. Say hello, Karen.
Hi,
As we're about to get started here, but what I got to do is share the business page to the personal page, and then we're going to get going. So that way people can see us on all fronts. See right here.
Perfect.
Look at this.
I love it.
Right. And then we're going to get started. You ready?
Yes.
And welcome to the Super Terb Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Turbot, your local real estate expert with the Untitled Group, Coldwell Banker HPW, aka Super Terb, aka Coach Terb, and I'm back with our Super Terb Podcast, episode 55, double nickel.
I love it.
Getting started this podcast, and next to me is Karen Ross with Market Title and Coldwell Banker HPW. Say hello.
Hello,
so
everyone.
Excited for you to be on with me today. We started the Super Terb Podcast, Karen, about a year and a half ago, almost going on 2 years, to just have more content, but most importantly, talk to local business owners, entrepreneurs, agents, coaches, you name it, to tell your story. But what I thought would be pretty cool, because last week we had Kennedy on, next week or a couple weeks we're going to have David Jones on. And so I'm going to be talking to different people with Coldwell Banker HPW and talk about things that people that are either buying, selling, or just want to know more about real estate, they get more information. So I'm so excited to have you here.
Glad to be here.
And so we're going to get with Karen here in just a few minutes. But you know how what I always like to do, guys, is give you a little real estate tip before we take our first break. And last week, guys, where was Terb? Last week, I was in Seattle, Washington for a CORE visit. Now, CORE is a high-level accountability coaching program that I'm in going on a year and a half, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And what it was, I'm a big component of coaching, accountability, and always trying to get better. I'm in year 16 in my real estate career, and again, always trying to sharpen my sword and help our clients accomplish their real estate goals, especially when you have a market that's always moving, always evolving, and always trying to do better. So what the CORE is, we were able to go out to Seattle with 10 other fellow CORE mates throughout the country and visit the one and only John By from Seattle, Washington, who's a top producer out there. And we were able to see what his team does, shadow them, ask them questions, and it was absolutely phenomenal. The nuggets that I've brought back, our team right now is on overload. But the reason why I say that is for many agents that are listening to the Super Terb Podcast right now, and you're always thinking, what can I do to get better? I'm, again, a very big component to coaching and high accountability. So if you have any questions or you'd like to talk about the CORE or just any way that you can hopefully take that next step, I'm here to help you and do so, because it's absolutely transformed my business. Example, I had to turn homework in today. I had to turn my homework in today. I had to show how many calls I've made, how many notes I've written, how many face-to-faces I've had, how many breaking bread lunches I've had, how many leads. And when you know you have to do that, it makes you take it to another level.
Absolutely.
So guys, I just wanted to share that experience because it was such a phenomenal experience. And the cool thing about the CORE is each semester you get a new coach, and that coach is also a real estate agent that, again, is doing what they're telling you what to do. And then each semester you rotate coaches to get different perspectives and point of views and different philosophies. So it's just amazing. So that's my quick real estate tip / advice. I'm going to take a quick break. And on the other side, we're going to have Karen Ross with Market Title.
Yay.
And welcome back to the Super Terb Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Michael Turbot, your local real estate expert with the Untitled Group, Coldwell Banker HPW. And say hello.
Hello, everyone.
And say, I've already introduced you, but say your name and where you're from.
I'm Karen Ross, and I'm with Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston with our company division Market Title.
Now, are you from Raleigh?
I'm from Rocky Mount.
Rocky Mount, so not too far away.
Nope, not far at all. I've lived here since 1985.
So I'm in year 16 of my career. My mom, 35 years, my sister, 18 years. We have a great team. And when we talk to clients, many people do not know what title insurance is and why you need it. So first of all, Market Title, affiliated with Coldwell Banker HPW.
Right.
And explain title insurance.
Title insurance protects your ownership in the property, in your home. It protects your rights of ownership. People don't understand that if there's anything that goes wrong in the future, you've got title insurance to protect you. Say, for instance, you bought a property and it was sold. It was an old farm and there was an heir. All the heirs sold it to a developer. They built the subdivision, but one heir was not around, didn't know anything about it. And all of a sudden that heir comes back and says, hey, I should have had rights to that property. Well, they can put a lien on your property until they are paid the amount of money for when all the other heirs sold and left them out. And you can only imagine that this would cost a fortune if you had to pay for an attorney to represent you themselves. Well, title insurance, when you have that put in place, when you purchase a home, it's going to take care of all of that. Say you go to sell your house and there's an encroachment. Your neighbor has built a fence 7 feet over onto your property, which I know Michael has dealt with before. Or you built a driveway and your driveway, you didn't pay attention, and your person that laid your concrete just happened to go over the property line. So you've made an encroachment onto a neighbor's property. All of these things title insurance helps you with. And believe me, when people don't even know that they need it, but when they have an issue and they call me, they sure are glad that they have it.
Yeah. Now, is title insurance required for any purchase of a home, or property?
I'll explain. A lender, if you are buying a home and you have a lender, the lender absolutely requires that you buy title insurance for them. However, the owner's policy is optional. You don't have to buy your own insurance. You do buy the lender's, but you don't have to buy your own. Title insurance rates are set up in North Carolina where the homeowner would only pay a small additional amount more than the lender's policy. And so you can sort of do what we call combining those policies, where it really makes it affordable. And it is a one-time fee for title insurance, and it covers you for the entire time you own the property.
Now, with title insurance, now if you're doing a cash purchase,
you do not
have.
Yes.
I would think most attorneys would require it, or have you sign something saying.
That was going to be my very next thing.
Right.
Most attorneys, I would say probably 95% of them, will have you sign a waiver saying that I understand how necessary title insurance is, and I have declined to get title insurance,
which is insane to me to think of that. But yeah, and the attorney's
well, you know what's happening, but the average homeowner is not sitting in a seat where you are selling and helping people buy properties all the time, and they don't see all the issues.
They're looking at it as another fee.
Exactly.
And so that leads me to my next question: is surveys. Okay, because as we know, surveys aren't required by the lender, and many times buyers are like, well, why do I need a survey? Now, you correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, is typically with the survey, you get that to make sure everything is good on the property, or you are aware of any sort of encroachments or infractions. I don't know if that's the right word, but that way, once you close, for example, if everything looks good on the property, if someone was to come back and say this is wrong, you're covered. Is that correct?
That is exactly
yes.
right.
All right, I passed.
Exactly. And surveys,
you elaborate on that too.
Well, surveys are so important because, as you know, I have helped you with problems before, and it can be any number of things. Your next door neighbor has installed a garage, and that garage is a little bit
after
over
you've had a survey.
I've got a good story. We had a homeowner once in Creedmoor, North Carolina, that there was an encroachment of we'll call it a shed, but it was really just an outbuilding. They did not mind the encroachment. They had an encroachment agreement with that neighbor saying, I know that your shed is partially on my property. Well, it was fine. The next door neighbor sold the property. They still had the encroachment agreement for the next homeowners. However, that new homeowner next door started doing Harley Davidson repairs in the garage, and it created all kinds of noise.
I can only imagine.
And so, of course, they want to end and sever the encroachment agreement at this time. And so things like that happen all the time.
I can't wait, because I've got other questions for you.
You go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm excited. So tell me about market title, because I'm sure there's quite a bit title insurance companies out there.
There
and
are.
how it's affiliated with Coldwell Banker
Okay.
HPW.
Well, we're 100% owned by Coldwell Banker.
Mhm.
However, Coldwell Banker, Howard Perry, and Walston. Don Walston is the owner of our company,
Mhm.
and we are actually a title insurance agent. And so we underwrite for 3 different underwriters, the top in the country for Chicago Title, First American, and WFG.
Mhm.
We have the backup of those 3 wonderful companies and their whole array of underwriting support, title attorneys on staff that I can pick up the phone and call at any time. So you call me,
And you
then
got
I get on
them.
the phone with them, and they help us find workable solutions to get around to overcome any issue you're having with closing.
Okay, so and one other great advantage you guys provide is when we sell a home, you kind of already you get the copy of the contract or the property,
yeah.
and you look into what current title policy they have,
Exactly.
and then in many cases you're able to beat that or save them money.
Absolutely.
And so
it's one of the things that is so under advertised in the title insurance world. About 15 years ago, actually, it was exactly 15 years ago, the Department of Insurance regulated title insurance, meaning that everybody had to charge the exact same price across the board in North Carolina. But there was one provision, and Roger Burnholz, our famous corporate attorney, he said, Karen, there is something you can do to help save our clients money. There's a provision in that and in the regulations that allow us to give a reissue credit off the prior owner's policy as long as it's within 15 years. And sometimes it's half the price.
I know, it's incredible.
I mean, it is a huge
because
savings.
we have addendums or disclosures our clients fill out. Part of it's title insurance, and we always tell them, you definitely want to have market title. Look at this. Worst case, best case, nothing good. There's no obligation, but best case that they're going to be able to help save you that money on title insurance. Now, you talked about prior is there's a certain amount a title insurance company can charge, correct? Is that
it has to be?
And
yes.
what is that?
Well, it's a sliding scale. Roughly, I'd say it's about $2.45 per thousand. So $2.35. But I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but that would give you a roundabout estimate as to what it would cost.
Gotcha. So what did you do before market title?
I had a florist, and then I worked at Bailey's Fine Jewelry in Cameron Village.
Very cool. So when did you come over to market title?
In 2007.
Wow. So 15 years.
And
I've
seen a lot of property problems. I
bet you have. But what made you go to market title? What made you change your career?
Don Walston. I had closed the flower shop, and Don says, I've got the job for you. And I knew nothing about title insurance, but boy, did I learn.
He's a good salesperson,
yes,
too.
He is.
He's a salesman. He can convince you to do a lot. So what do you love about it?
I love all the agents and helping all the agents and the homeowners. I usually get the call 2 to 3 days, if not the morning of the closing, when a problem has arisen. They're just finding out about something that's make or break for the deal. And I can do everything. I mean, I will do everything from calling the attorney, from calling others that are involved. I'll get on the phone with my title attorneys and saying, what can we do to get this closed?
And one thing I will speak truth to is that if we need something, we can pick up the phone and you're right there.
All the time,
because
night and day,
like I said, we're always having, curveballs, or, you never know what's coming our way. And like I said, you get that survey back, or you have questions about things. I think we talked not too long about an easement, which that was so helpful. Learn. You're always learning. So 15 years. Next question. You may have a couple. I know you already shared one story, but I want to hear the craziest story. That's and this is unedited, by the way. This is a super Terb podcast. Or if you can be R-rated, if you'd like.
It's not R-rated, but I'll tell you one. We had title insurance on a property that the buyer bought as a foreclosure. They did not have a survey done, so they didn't.
Buyer bought a home, foreclosure from the bank.
Right.
No survey.
Exactly. And so they are living in the home, and all of a sudden I get a call one morning and they said that their water had been cut off. Now, you know that a homeowner wouldn't call me for water being cut off.
No,
normally.
we get the call.
Yes. Well, they probably
Or
called the
utility.
agent, and the agent told them to call Karen. And so this was morning number one. And they said, well, we found out that our well is on another property. The well was actually it was family property that they bought. The son lived right next door to the foreclosure victims, the people who lost their home. Son's still living there. Well happens to be on his lot.
So they were getting water from that well.
Mm-hmm. Did not know it. It was not found. There was nothing that you would know where the well was. And so anyway, I explained to them, what would happen, and you're going to, I went through the whole process with them, even though it has nothing to do with me. Mm-hmm. And nothing to do. It was just helping them. We wanted to help them, and they were someone that we had insured, and so we wanted to do whatever we could. So anyway, they get the well cut back on. Next morning, I get a call. The next door neighbor is sitting out there with a shotgun. He's cut the water off again at the well. And they called me, and I said, call the sheriff, please. Call the sheriff. And so anyway, that was my funniest story.
So what happened?
I do know they ended up having to dig a new well. But do believe that they paid, from what I understand, they paid their neighbor for using the well until they got the new well.
Unbelievable. So
they paid him a nice little sum of money. And that's just one of the risks of, number one, not getting a survey.
What I always tell people is, for the investment you're making,
it's
required.
Yeah.
Granted, you never get good news from a survey. Normal, maybe.
Yeah.
But
you're
but
right.
A lot of times too, when you get surveys back, for example, if I had $1 for every time there's a slight encroachment,
yes,
we'd be on a beach somewhere.
It's an everyday thing.
I follow. What's great too, guys, is you order a survey, the closing attorney orders it, the survey comes back to the attorney, they review it, and then we follow their guidance. Mm-hmm. If there's an issue, then they're the ones that say, hey, we need to get a share, an encroachment agreement or something of that nature, or they'll say, you know what, guys, not a big deal. We're fine. Like, we had one actually close. Betsy, one of our great agents on our team, closed it on a home, and I don't know, their clients got a survey, but their lot was actually encroaching on. It was a fence, mm-hmm. but fence was encroaching on the neighbors, 5-7 inches here and there, and of course she's newer, and so she was doing her job. At the same time, I said, God, this just benefits your client. Mm-hmm. Worst case scenario, the neighbors would say, hey, you got to move your fence to the spot.
Exactly. Not
a big deal. And they closed. Mm-hmm. So, of course, that's great. Well, good deal. This has been so much fun, but what I do with every one of my guests is I do rapid questions.
Oh, boy.
So you're going to have some
I'm ready.
fun. Ready? Are you ready?
I hope I can do it.
Favorite food?
Macaroni and cheese.
That's good. That's an underrated answer. Because who doesn't like macaroni and cheese? It's phenomenal. Do you have a certain kind?
Well,
Are yours homemade?
I don't cook.
I don't either.
But I like to eat it. And I mean, it can come from any restaurant. It can have all kinds of additives in it too.
I like it. Yeah. I have stock in Grubhub and DoorDash, and because of COVID especially, I found them out real fast. Favorite restaurant?
Margot's.
That's a staple. Favorite band?
My brother's band, Magic Pipers.
Magic Pipers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where do they play?
Local here.
Local. Very cool. Favorite cocktail?
I'm a Miller Lite girl.
I love it. Favorite sports team?
State.
So are you going to the ECU game?
No.
That's gonna be. I'm just glad football's back.
Oh, so Saturday. Well, we saw Carolina over the weekend.
Oh, you went to the A&M game?
No. Just watched it on TV.
Oh, watch TV.
Not going.
Well, my sister, they're going up to Boone Friday for Labor Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That game's gonna be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like doing when you're not working?
In the garden.
Now, where do you live now? As far as, do you have acreage?
We've got a little over an acre, right, very close to your mom. We're over in Stonebridge.
Oh yeah, and your Taylors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You want a funny story about that?
Yes.
Okay, so that used to be called Variety Pickup.
I didn't know that.
When did you move into Stonebridge?
98.
Okay, so we moved there in 80s. I was 7. But yeah, it was Variety Pickup, Taylor's, before BP. the Taylors there. But it was funny, they had VHS movies, candy, stuff like that. Well, all my friends could go across the street, but I couldn't.
Why would your mom not let you cross?
Because of the traffic. Yeah, that's hilarious. And that was a lot different back then. We did a 540. That was another funny story. Our agent, I remember our agent's name was Kathy O'Daly. My folks lived in Pannonia, and they were there in the late, 86, bought their home, actually bought a spec home. And Kathy O'Daly was like, yeah, they're supposed to have this outer loop thing come through around 2000, but that won't happen. We're Raleigh. It's going to be, it was just funny. And now it's right there. But yeah, it wasn't until I technically was able to drive across, but I think I did some cooking.
I bet you
did.
If I'd seen you, I would have never.
But Taylor's is amazing.
Oh, it is. That's a great store.
Yeah, Monday. Best place you visited?
Oh, I would say Prague.
That's awesome. The place you want to go to, but you haven't been to, or it's the place you want to visit that you haven't been to before.
Okay. South America. Just in general.
That would be cool. I was saying that there because I did a podcast last week and they asked me, and I was saying New Zealand, Australia, that area.
Well, I'd love to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many places. I've been to Europe once with my dad in 2016. We did a Beyond Band of Brothers tour. Actually, it was kind of cool. I'm a history major. I love European theater as far as the World War II. And my mom and dad went out. We booked this trip. My dad had never been to Omaha Beach, so we were being able to stand on Omaha Beach together was incredible. My dad's a veteran too, flew fighters, just never been.
I remember.
Mm-hmm. And my mom and him, though, they made a little trip. They went out to Paris, and for a week, but 5 days into that, that's when I showed up. We did a couple days in Paris, and then Mom flew home, and then Dad and I met the tour group. It was called Beyond Band of Brothers, and so we did an 11-day tour, and we started we picked, we met the tour group in Paris at the Gaulle. Then we did 4 days in Normandy, went to all the beaches. Then we went to Bastogne, so Battle of the Bulge, stood in the foxholes. They're still there. Luxembourg.
Wow.
Yeah. Then we ended up in Munich, and then we did went up to the Eagle's Nest. I mean, it was just a trip of a lifetime. It was amazing. Unfortunately, that tour group company didn't make it through COVID. There's another company, if anybody's listening, it's the Stephen Ambrose Band of Brothers tour, who Stephen Ambrose wrote Band of Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that?
The movie, not the book.
The book is phenomenal, but that's so. I believe they're still doing it, but it was phenomenal. It was every day got better, and then the history is just absolutely amazing.
There's one for Vietnam veterans too, going through Vietnam for all the Marines, and I would love to do that with my dad.
No, just to see it, that'd be like that's the stuff. I'd like to take my son and family back. I'd like to go to Germany, Italy, Rome, that whole area. We're going to Hawaii next summer. I already booked it.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, my son will be 15, my daughter will be 11. It's crazy. And we're going to do Oahu and Maui. So
you're going to have so much fun.
Something to look forward to. You could have dinner now with two people dead or alive. Who would it be?
That are alive.
Dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Okay, Abraham Lincoln,
Billy
Graham.
That would be two. What would you ask both of them?
Abraham Lincoln, how he I would like to know what he thinks after death of his assassination and why they killed him. That's what I'd like to know. So maybe I need to talk to his ghost. Have you been to Fort Theater? No, I have not.
You got to go. Up in D.C.
My mom and dad have gone, and I saw photos.
Yeah, so I was just up there in March. We did actually, me and my buddy did a Hurricanes road trip to the Capitals, and we went in there. I've been there before with my wife, and it's just really cool. But yeah, that'd be something. It was obviously a lot different back then too, and then right across the streets where he actually died because they took him out there. And then Billy Graham, what would you ask? Oh,
how it felt being so important to so many people.
Yeah,
I just can't even imagine having such an effect.
See you guys, I could see you guys at Margot's talking it up.
Oh yeah, Margot's. We'd have Steve giving us a prime table right as you walk in, so everybody
I love it.
See us.
To see Lincoln Graham, that'd be amazing. All right, so this is a question. I started the rapid questions, I don't know, 20 something. I think it's just fun to do those questions. But this is the one question I've asked everybody that's been on the podcast, and I know everybody listening, they always hear me say the same thing. But, whenever the Super Terb Podcast is retired, I think it'd be cool to do a little book and
Yes.
add the quotes in there because I just love hearing everybody's answers. So the question is, the best advice you've ever received and by who?
Okay, that would be from Clyde Bailey with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. And I remember him telling me
How did you know
several.
Clyde Bailey?
Oh, Rocky Mount. He's from Rocky
Oh, wow.
Mount.
Cool.
And I've known him almost my whole entire life since
Very
I
cool.
was young. Anyway, I worked for him for years and years and years. And he told me to treat everyone the same. Everyone that you meet, treat them just like you would want yourself to be treated. And I have done that my whole life, and it's made a huge difference. I mean, there's nobody that's better than us, and there's no one beneath me. I treat everyone exactly.
No, you're
the same.
exactly. No, it's no better words than that. You know, this has been awesome. Thank you for coming on the Super Terb Podcast.
Oh, it's fun.
It's been like I've learned something today. And again, you're going to be on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I think it's something that many people that are going into the real estate journey, whether they're buying, selling, and it's just known because you hear title insurance, you're like, what the heck is that? Because they hear hazard insurance, different things. So this has been very informative. So any final words?
Just thank you for having me here. And if you have title questions, you've got someone to call now.
Yes, exactly. All right, everybody. Again, Karen Ross with Market Title, Coldwell Banker HPW. If there's anything we can do, guys, to help you accomplish real estate goals, we'd be honored to do so. Please, at any time, reach out to me. Again, it's Michael Turbot, your local real estate expert with the Untitled Group, Coldwell Banker HPW. And remember, who you work with matters. We'll see you next time. See ya.